Hello everybody, it's Richard here and I'm back with a brand new retrospective review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins for the Nintendo Game Boy. Now I have many fond memories of this classic game. I'd literally just come off playing the original Mario Land on my Game Boy, and then later on Nintendo brought out Mario Land 2. Now I got to play it in quite an unusual way. It was my brother's birthday and I'd already got a Game Boy, and he was like, oh, I think I'll get a Game Boy. So we got a Game Boy, a bunch of games, and he was happily playing away on his Game Boy and stuff when he ran out of batteries. And he's like, oh, run out of batteries, what am I going to do? And then for some reason he was scrambling around in the box, I think, looking for batteries, the original Nintendo Game Boy box which he got, and he found Super Mario Land 2 in there. So what had happened is the woman at the shop wasn't supposed to put that in with the Game Boy. For some reason it just went under the radar, maybe she didn't realise, but he wasn't supposed to have, I don't think. But anyway, he come down and then looked at me and he's like, Richard, I'm like, yeah, can I borrow your Game Boy? And I'm like, yeah. What, is there something wrong with yours? What's happened? He said, I've run out of batteries. Basically, I found a copy of Mario Land 2 in the box, and I really want to play it. So I was like, yeah, no problem, so I'll give him my Game Boy. And he happily went away, and you know, I think it really affected him, that game, because he absolutely loved it. And then later on my other brothers would, we'd all get together and we'd literally take turns playing it, because that's how much we loved it. And then later on, I think my younger brother, he got bored of it, so he kind of gave it to me. I think I might have swapped him, and so I played it. I actually managed to complete it. I was the first one to complete it. It's not a very hard game, but as a kid, to me, it felt like the most difficult thing. And then my older brother, he was always coming to me because he wanted to see the end, and he's like, dude, will you go through the castle, will you kill Wario so I can see the end? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I just remember it just bringing us all together as a family. It's such a great game. And so I got it from eBay a few years ago, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a retrospective review of this game and talk about my memories of it. So I tried to make this review as authentic as I can. So I just want to say that this review will contain spoilers pertaining to the end of the game and other things, but you will see the sections as my video goes on. I'm still trying to get my sections right in terms of introduction, video game presentation, etc, etc, so it really is a work in progress on these videos. But anyway, I hope you enjoy my review. Thank you very much, and let's do it. Let's review Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins for the Nintendo Game Boy.
1993 saw everyone's favourite platforming plumber Mario make a triumphant return to the 8-bit handheld in style in Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins for the Nintendo Game Boy. Rather than replicate the playstyle of the original Mario Land, Nintendo opted to make everything look, play and feel like a bite-sized Super Mario world with 6 new original and unique zones to visit, chunkier graphics with Mario and his enemies looking larger and incredibly detailed, and even the levels have been given a drastic upgrade with the trademark Nintendo stamp all over them. The game does borrow standard enemies from previous Mario titles. I mean, it wouldn't be a Mario game without Goombas and Koopa Troopers, but it also adds in its own, which include insects that fight back, long sharks boasting boxing gloves, mini Cyclops creatures and even a vampire of all things. This new adventure is brought to you by a new arch nemesis, an evil doppelganger who goes by the name of Wario. Wario has declared squatters' rights by taking Mario's castle in Mario Land and locking everyone out, whilst changing the interior design of the castle to suit his desires. Mario needs to find 6 golden coins required to open the castle door and get back inside. These coins are scattered across 6 zones, and each one must be retrieved by defeating the many bosses who await our hero in each one. Mario will have to visit some incredible areas on this quest for the coins, and they range from a haunted horror zone bursting with horror cliched creatures and tough platforming sections, to a massive mechanical Mario working your way up from the foot to the head avoiding jigsaw-like blades. Mario even gets to go into outer space, which is just an incredible sight to see. So there's a lot of interesting deviations from the Mario formula we all know and love. So with this new adventure essentially changing things up, Mario Land 2 offers a different approach and game style for 8-bit handheld owners. Video game story. Whilst Mario was away rescuing Princess Daisy from the evil alien Tatanga in Saras Land, Wario invaded Mario's homeland, and according to the manual, he has always been jealous of Mario ever since they were kids. Wario has always wanted a castle of his own and decides to steal Mario's. So having done so, he then scatters the 6 golden coins needed to open the castle entrance across 6 zones in Mario Land. Our hero Mario returns to find himself locked out and a sinister figure patrolling the castle rooftops. Unable to get in, Mario rushes off to try and retrieve the coins needed to get back in and stop Wario. That's not all. Wario has managed to turn all of Mario Land's inhabitants against the plumber using magic, and now they only serve him, meaning the odds are severely stacked against Mario. One thing that hasn't changed though is Mario's ability to use various power-ups to help him battle through the various new levels and obstacles he will undoubtedly face on this new quest. The only way to win is to beat each zone, retrieve all 6 coins, gain access to the castle and destroy Wario to restore peace to Mario Land. Video game gameplay. Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins is a 2D side-scrolling platform game in which you play as Mario, who must work his way across 6 all-new zones in Mario Land using his trademark style. Just like in previous games, Mario will be stomping on Goombas and Koopa Troopers, collecting coins and lives, breaking blocks, and once again, in order to beat some of the tougher adversaries, you will be able to take advantage of some power-ups to help him take them down. Mario has been given a slight upgrade here as he can do a normal jump, and if he acquires a mushroom he becomes larger, but in this form he can do a cool spin jump to destroy not only standard blocks but also ones that are on the ground, blocking access to certain pipes or areas that small Mario alone cannot get to. Making a triumphant return also is the Fire Flower, which is extremely effective against most of the enemy roster and even bosses, and can be used to blast some blocks on the left or right of the screen to access other areas. You see, Mario's spin jump will only work on blocks on the ground and not to the side, so this game is very strategic in how you play, often having you come back to certain areas, ensuring you have the right power up to help reveal every nook and cranny to find some hidden bonuses or much needed coins and lives. Need to take Mario to higher ground? Well, now you can. Collect the carrot power up and Mario will gain bunny ears, which allow him to float about each level and get to areas high up that were previously inaccessible. Not only that, but Mario can use this awesome power up to skip some tougher sections in some levels, making things a lot more manageable and awesome. What Nintendo have cleverly done with this game is they have also included some areas that only small Mario can reach, which was a good move. You would think that you would need to be totally powered up and just break some blocks with the right power up. Well, not always. You see, some levels have a small alcove that only little Mario without any power ups can get through. The Star power-up makes a welcome return and bestows temporary invincibility on Mario for a limited amount of time, allowing him to plough through a succession of baddies blocking his path. This time, if Mario destroys 5 enemies or more, he will receive an extra life and another one for every additional enemy he destroys thereafter until the effects of the Star wear off. Also, the game keeps track of how many baddies you destroy, and if you kill the required amount, a star drops from the sky. This game throws a ton of fun and rewards your way the further you get through this gem of a game. As before, Mario will collect coins, but this time getting 100 does not give him an extra life. You can collect up to 999 of them, and they can be used in a bonus cave in which Mario can gamble as much or as little as he wants to try and gain some extra lives. Lives this time can be gained by acquiring hearts in the levels themselves and in bonus rounds at the end of the stage. Mario starts a level doing his usual block bashing and enemy stomping whilst dealing with the level's gimmicks. Once he gets to the halfway point, he will see a bell which must be rung to allow him to start from that point should he lose. Get to the end of the level and there's a bell high up that can be rung to not only finish the level in style, but also allows Mario to partake in a bonus game to earn power-ups or lives, or Mario can reach the door at the end and finish the level, which won't allow him to play the extra game, but will let him play the next level in turn. This process continues until Mario reaches a boss stage. However, in order to fight the boss, he has to endure a tough platforming section to get to each one of them. Once he meets a boss, he must beat them to gain possession of a golden coin which flies into the castle entrance. At this point, Mario leaves the zone with a flag showing an X signifying he has beaten that zone and that he can move on to the next. Each zone can be tackled in any order, which is an especially nice touch, and the world map even has a few standalone levels that aren't even connected to the main zones, which is such a cool addition. There are 6 zones to tackle and I'll explain them all in the order I completed them. But before I start, I am aware that most of the zones have secret levels to find, and I will cover those a bit later on in the unlockable extras and hidden content section. Okay, so let's dive into this game's zones. The Tree Zone. This zone tasks Mario with having to climb a tree to its very top to try and battle an angry bird who is guarding one of the precious golden coins. Mario starts on the ground and must first locate the tree, which is at the far right. Blocking his path to it first though are angry hedgehogs, frogs and insects. Once he gets inside on the second stage, he must contend with sticky tree sap, deadly spikes and hard as nails beetles. Further on up, he reaches the middle of the tree with 2 levels taking place on the left and right branches. The left branch is a level that requires Mario to climb his way all the way to the top, and he has to platform on leaves, being mindful of enemies, and must also make use of lifts and arrows to ensure he climbs to the very top of the stage. The right branch is a honeycomb level featuring a vast array of spiked insects that will decrease Mario in size if he has a power up or kill him outright if he is small. The best thing is you only have to do one or the other branch to reach the final level. The final level involves Mario maintaining and sustaining a great amount of height using clouds, blocks and lifts dotted about to help him achieve this. Once he has reached the bird, he merely has to watch out for its attacks and stomp on its head 3 times. Once he has done that, he gets the game's first golden coin. Space Zone. This must be one of the best ideas ever, putting Mario in space. The zone can clearly be seen from the world map in the shape of a crescent moon and star, but cannot be accessed from the ground. To reach it, Mario has to enter a level represented by a huge hippo statue on the map. From here, he must use a bubble that emanates from the statue's mouth to fly upwards as high as possible and make his way to the right. You will know when you have found it because there's a bell at the top to ring. Space Zone is really short and only has 2 levels to complete. It would have been so nice to have some more. The first level predictably throws gravity out the window as Mario's attire changes to a spacesuit and sees him navigating the moon's rocky terrain. Mario's jumps due to the gravity are slowed down here, but he can gain a little more height than he ever could on other zones, which can be both a help or a hindrance, as this level features aliens firing starlight projectiles, pigs firing pellets, spiked rocks and rows of spikes which force the player to platform much slower than they would ordinarily do, and coins and items are higher up, making you utilise the floaty jump a lot more often to reach them. Complete this level and you progress to the final level. I know, right? This level features tons of angry stars who don't seem happy that the plumber has decided to gate crash the moon. These stars differ in how they attack, and so Mario must rely on pure reflex to move out of their way. Oh, did I mention that this level is an auto scroll? That's right, the screen this time is constantly moving to the right, and this means that Mario must move with it, otherwise he gets killed. Whilst this is by no means a punishing level, the player can still get caught out first whilst trying to adapt to the sudden change of pace. If you can somehow deal with this section, you get to face the boss, who according to Mario Trivia is Tatanga from the first game. I honestly thought he was just a standalone alien creature as a kid. Either way, he proceeds to fire 2 types of projectiles at the plumber before racing towards him. You can easily bounce off his head 3 times in succession, but you have to ensure that you do it as early as possible, because if he gets too high, when you go to bounce on his head, the game doesn't count it as a hit and will either decrease Mario in power or kill him outright. You can also use the fire flower to engulf him in flames, but I find stomping onto Tango the easier option due to these annoying weapons he fires. Once he goes down, the alien yields the second coin and it's time to leave the abyss of space and land back down to Earth for some more adventure. Turtle Zone. It's time to delve into the bottom of the ocean to the Turtle Zone, and like the Space Zone, it is extremely short, with only 3 levels to beat before another boss encounter. The first level sees Mario trying to make his way to a submarine that is buried at the bottom of the ocean. In order to get there, he must utilise and navigate the many ledges on, above and underwater, as well as deal with the usual deadly fish and the shark with boxing gloves. It can be quite difficult, as individuals who are used to just speeding through Mario games will find that Mario must take his time, as these pesky small fish can be tricky to surpass if you try and rush. Make it to the end and Mario will have finally gotten to the submarine, which is predictably overrun with underwater aquatic baddies, which now include a bonefish with an erratic swimming pattern, bullet bill cannons await at various points, dispatching them at curious timed intervals to throw poor Mario off his game. Not only that, but there are many sea urchins bobbing around, so great care must be taken here. To make matters worse, Koopa Troopers patrol some high sections of the sub, so you have to time your leaps out of the water very carefully, as you don't want to lose a life if you're small. Make it through the submarine and you have to venture inside a massive whale's mouth, dealing with explorers. The whale's teeth is jagged and sharp, with some sections rising and falling at certain intervals. Mario also has to contend with some more of those bone fish, flying Goombas and more Koopas that have been swallowed by the massive whale previously. It is a very short level and pretty easy compared to the last zone's levels. Once Mario makes it to the pipe, he must do battle with an angry octopus who literally throws his children at Mario to block any attacks Mario might throw at him. Again, if you can get by this barrier, you can shoot the octopus into submission or just bounce off his head. Once he's been defeated, Mario gets the third golden coin and is halfway through the game already. The Mario Zone is comprised of a huge mechanical Mario with some unusual enemies, from beach ball riding teddy bears, soldiers and jack-in-the-boxes to deadly jigsaw-like blades waiting later on. Mario starts at the foot and must work his way upwards to Mario's head. Fortunately, this zone is a cakewalk and you will be there before you know it. The foot features some cogs in the background that Mario must traverse to try and ascend to the stomach. There are Koopa Troopers roaming around, as well as deadly blades and spiked balls dotted around in some inconvenient places. Not to mention a few spike fields to try and catch the plumber out. Towards the end of the level, Mario has to carefully try and get to the ground, avoiding more of those annoying spikes in order to get to the bell. The stomach features more of those projectile wielding pigs, Goombas and more annoying spike fields to negotiate. Luckily, this level can be sped through if you have the bunny ears, so you can avoid most of the carnage. If you don't have the bunny ears, it's no problem, as even the beach ball teddy bear section is quite easy and a lot of fun. The Tong is another strange but fun level and features what looks like soldiers marching towards Mario, as well as jack-in-the-boxes literally hiding in regular boxes, which was an especially nice touch. The level features more bullet bills, a small lift that rises and falls, forcing you to try and get higher, whilst also avoiding the enemies. Once again, with the bunny ears, most of this level won't be that much of a struggle, but it's easy to get caught out without it, I have found. You do need to take special care with the conveyor belt forcing Mario to the right, trying to get him to hit the jagged spikes. This level clearly wants to grind Mario to a halt. If you can keep your head, you will make it to the end, but you then have to contend with the last stage, Mario's head. This stage is made up of Lego blocks and platforms, as well as some deadly jigsaw blades moving back and forth. Yeah, more of them. Playing this stage after all these years, I suddenly realised how violent it really is. There's quite a bit of resistance here, with those tricky blades right near the end just when you thought you would surpass them. Anyway, make it to the pipe and it's time to fight 3 bosses this time round. It's the 3 little pigs and you have to face every one of them in turn. They watch from their little houses made of predictably straw, wood and brick, and the straw pig jumps down and rolls towards Mario almost immediately. Each time you damage him, he rolls faster and faster with more velocity. Thankfully I had the fire flower and I stopped him before he could even start. I should note that each pig takes 3 hits, that's a total of 9 hits, 3 per pig. After the straw pig has bit the dust, the pig from the wood house drops down and starts to bounce across both sides of the screen. Again, the more damage you inflict, the faster and faster he bounces, and it can become quite overwhelming. I actually think that the 3 pigs are the hardest bosses on this game. The final pig, the one in the brick house, then bounces like the second pig, but he tends to float upwards and then back down, making hits very difficult to pull off. Luckily, once I learned his pattern, he wasn't too much of a problem and I'd acquired the game's 4th golden coin, 4 zones down and 2 to go. The Pumpkin Zone. Now this is quite a tough zone. I think the developers were smart enough to ensure that just because you use the bunny ears to easily get through most levels, you won't always be able to do it here. This zone is a horror themed zone and the first level places Mario on the ground, where platforming must be performed with care. There are skulls with daggers patrolling most of the stage and they can easily hit Mario if you take this level too lightly. I tried to rush through and got shut down quite rapidly, so you kind of need to take your time here. You need to watch out for the glowing spikes on the chains that automatically go up and down. Now this bit here is particularly nasty, as I tried to rush through thinking I could easily avoid the spikes, but was halted in my tracks by this skull dagger right here. After these obstacles, Mario climbs upwards to find a succession of pipes, and there's even a vampire throwing bats at Mario. Now this has got to be a first, Mario vs Dracula. I kind of wish there was a vampire boss in this game. Luckily from here the goal isn't that far away and reaching it means you can tackle the next stage. This next stage starts Mario off outside, where he now has to avoid statue heads using their tongue as a weapon. Flying umbrellas, at least I think that's what they are, and a deadly flame enemy. Thankfully, if you can get Mario to higher ground and you have the bunny ears, then you can fly over to the next section down a pipe. After avoiding the fish in the water and climbing up past some ghostly boos, Mario drops down into an area with some breakable blocks. Avoid or kill the Cyclops creatures and you will conquer this level with ease. Level 3 takes place in a huge haunted house, very reminiscent of Super Mario World. Thankfully you won't have to solve puzzles to find the exit and is a straightforward platform stage. There are more boo baddies here and also ghostly Goombas who don't shy away from trying to attack our hero. There's also disappearing and reappearing blocks to tackle, and I had a lot of fun on this level. After this, the final level sets the scene for what Mario will face at the end, with cauldrons, fire, more chain spikes and phantoms blocking his path. There's also some possessed brooms to avoid, as well as more of those skull daggers shifting menacing left and right later on. After making it to the pipe, Mario has to fight a wicked witch. I will say she's extremely easy to beat, however I did take some nasty hits right off the bat because I didn't notice the spikes rooted at the top of the screen, which was highly annoying, so you have to watch out for them. When I went for the first hit on the witch, I couldn't work out why I lost. It was very cunning of Nintendo. The only other hazards on this battle to watch out for are the cauldrons that will rise off the ground, forcing Mario into the trap. However, these can easily be avoided. Just bash the witch down on the head 3 times or burn her with the fire flower power up and she is toast. Only one golden coin left to get, and then it's onto the castle. The Macro Zone. This zone drastically shrinks Mario and comprises of a huge house with all obstacles and level objects appearing to be colossally huge to our plumber hero. Like most of the other zones, it follows a simple progression route as Mario must make his way from the garden to the top of the house. The first stage takes place outside as Mario must contend with tricky insects, some of which throw small rocks at him. He will also have to navigate some lifts to stop him falling into what looks like hot tar or maybe mud. Whatever it is, it causes instant death, so avoidance is your best option here. What's really frustrating is that some insects produce spikes from their bodies, so simply jumping on them without thinking will result in a powered down or killed Mario. Watch your step and use the platforms provided to get to the goal. The next level sees Mario on the front door, surrounded by grass and plant pots complete with deadly plant life. There is also a succession of insects to take down or avoid. Mario then descends a huge pipe into a water-filled section with more fish and platforms to contend with. Hit the bell at the end whilst avoiding this flying bug who tries to block you and you're home free. Blimey, all this trouble just to get into a house. Level 3 starts Mario off inside the house on the first floor, with the goal being to locate the chimney to ascend to the next floor, and once again features more pipes and enclosed areas with arrow platform blocks forcing our hero in different directions. Not to mention there are a few plants here that are once again purposely placed to try and get him to slip up. Goombas and Koopas have also been added to the mix, and after some perilous platforming with quite a few pipes and fire, Mario eventually finds the inside of the chimney and needs to carefully make his way to the top. Once there, he can ring the bell and prepare for the last stage of this awesome zone. At last, Mario has made it to the second floor, which is the attic, and now faces a stage full of books everywhere. There's more pipes with emerging plants and what appears to be little jagged spikes dotted in some very specific areas to keep the plumber on his toes and to slow him down. Not only that, but Nintendo have thrown in what looks like a witch who tries to steal 1-ups, more conveyor belts to try and force Mario into spikes, as well as Paragoombas who are really annoying. After making it through all of that carnage, it's time to take on the boss who waits in the attic. It's a giant rat who scurries back and forth, entering and exiting using the pipes in the room. He will occasionally climb on the ceiling and try and drop down, trying to land a cheap hit on Mario. You know the drill by now. You can jump on his head 3 times and just blast him with fireballs if you happen to have the fire flower. Once this rat has been exterminated, the 6th and final golden coin has been collected and the castle gate finally opens. There's only one more hurdle to go through to get to the game's end. Final boss, video game ending. Okay, now it's time for the main event with Mario's arch nemesis inside Castle Wario. As expected, you can't just waltz up to Wario straight away and hand him an eviction notice. Yes, you have to face the hardest platforming sections you have faced so far before fighting him. You can expect massive swinging spike weapons, plant statues producing fireballs, bottomless pits with some tricky jumps, dodgy looking lifts that require precise timing to utilise, and lifts in which Mario must jump very carefully and slowly across before they drop him into the fire below. So I do think that a lot of deaths will probably occur in the first half of the stage as the player tries to acclimatise themselves to this somewhat harsh final hurdle. Now it can feel a little overwhelming at first as there are no mid-stage bells to ring, and so everything has to be done in one go or you must repeat the whole castle again. Luckily the level has been designed in such a way that you really do learn little by little what to do, and with practice and provided you can adapt with Mario's dodgy jump, which again does not help in this level at times, then you might just be able to scrape through. And honestly, this is why I died some of the time. Don't get me started on those skull platforms as well that instantly disintegrate as soon as Mario lands on them, or those huge white gloved hands that emanate from the ceiling rapidly and cannot be bypassed unless you avoid stepping on certain blocks. Once you are through the crazy platforming, you must then face the last of Wario's defences, rotating spike thwomps, and not one, not two, not three, but 5 Wario heads that have to be stomped on. And let me tell you, their pattern is really manic and sometimes off-putting. I took a lot of damage because I didn't anticipate them, but somehow I managed to scrape through again with Tiny Mario. Again, if you fail on these heads, then it's back to the start of the level, and failure was simply not an option for me. Luckily the developers showed mercy and placed a power up right before the Wario boss fight, so at least I had a chance. Now it's time to fight Wario. Wario has 3 forms and takes a total of 9 hits, that's 3 per form. In his first form he runs back and forth across the screen, occasionally stomping on the ground to make bottles try and hit Mario. Just watch out and move when he tries this. Stomp on his head 3 times and he runs to the next section, which is slightly trickier. This is where he acquires the carrot power up and tries to use Mario's powers against him. Luckily there's a carrot right before fighting this second form in which he can pick up. Wario will then float from left to right, and as he slowly descends he will try and slam into the ground in an effort to hit the plumber. This can be quite an intimidating attack and makes jumping on his head nearly impossible as he slams down and it's quite hard, and when he does this, if you attempt to jump it will throw it off target and you will more than likely miss him. The key to this battle is to use the Mario statue in the middle of the room and wait for a moment where he approaches, and you can rapidly dole out 3 hits on his head if you still have the bunny ears. Now it's the final form of Wario, and it's Fire Wario. Yes, the evil doppelganger now has the power of fire and will shoot fireballs at Mario before jumping at him. Now he looks really threatening here, but honestly I was able to once again rapidly jump on his head 3 times. If you lose the carrot before the battle, Nintendo have kindly left a mushroom before this last section and it might be a little tougher, but you can still beat him this way. Finally, after beating him, Wario finally submits, cries and does a Peter Pan out of the castle window with Mario in hot pursuit. The rooftop flag then changes and the castle turns from one of evil and darkness to its original form. Mario has got his digs back and peace has been restored to Mario Land once again. With that, the player gets a lengthy credit screen and that's pretty much all she wrote. unlockable extras and hidden content. As I mentioned, Mario Land 2 does have some secret levels to discover on almost all of the zones and do require a little bit of work, but finding them rewards the player with coins, power-ups, and the enemies are not really as threatening either. Here's the list in no particular order and how to get them. Tree Zone, Level 2. Just after you ring the bell for the midsection of Level 2, instead of immediately heading to the right, you want to drop down here and float down to the bottom, avoiding or killing the enemies. Once at the very bottom, head through the pipe, grab the carrot to enable Mario to use the bunny ears and use them to cross these tricky spike fields and beetles. Once you've collected the goodies, take Mario up the pipe. Now to the right is the level exit, but that's not where you want to go. You want to go left and use the sap to propel yourself to the top and head to the far right into a pipe high up. This will lead you to the zone's first secret area and is indicated by a door with a star on it. Space Zone Secret. This zone secret is very easy to discover and is right after Mario rings the bell. Head a little further to the right and you'll see a very depressed planet in the background. What you want to do is go onto the left hand side of the planet and jump up to reveal an invisible block. Get on top of that block and jump up to reveal another block. Get on top of that one and simply follow the trail of coins all the way to the end to find the hidden door. Just don't drop down or you won't be able to get to the secret and may have to go all the way around again. Turtle Zone Secret. This secret is on level 2 and is very crafty. It's not impossible to get, but it can be slightly tricky if you don't know how. At the point in the level where you must swim up, avoiding some urchins right here, instead of going right, you want to bear left, avoiding or killing the Koopa Troop if you can, and you will see a small alcove that only tiny Mario can get into. Ensure you are small, if not, just get hit by a baddie until you are, then head through the opening. It leads to a hidden pipe which takes you up. Now this bit can be a pain in the rear end, as in order to get the secret level you have to endure some whale's teeth moving up and down, a few urchins and a bonefish swimming erratically. I was caught out a number of times, but you just have to get through. Once you have slipped by, you can finally find the secret area and the level is yours. Pumpkin Zone. This secret is on level 2. Shortly after getting the star, after falling down a huge chasm, don't go upwards on the platforms. Instead, you want to stay on the ground and go into the water. In the next section you will find a secret passageway, so float down to the pipe. You will have to endure some statues and their tongues, falling spikes from the ceiling and some fish to reach this pipe here. Now you do need to be large to do the spin to be able to break the blocks, or at least have the fire flower. Bunny Mario unfortunately cannot do the spin jump, so you may have to sacrifice his power up to access the secret. Head down the pipe and there's more statues and a mini Cyclops guarding the door. Get past them if you can and you have made it. There's even a secret on level 3 of Pumpkin Zone, and this one is so easy to get. All you have to do is ensure you have the bunny ears, and after hitting the bell in the middle of the stage, stay up and float as far right as you can, and you will reach this hidden platform where a couple of ghost Goombas guard the secret exit. Not too difficult to find at all, and there's even a coin arrow at the goal at the end of the stage to indicate that there's something hidden up there. Macro Zone. There's a secret in level 1, and I didn't even realise this till later on after finishing the game. This one requires Mario to have the fire flower, as it's the only way to get to the secret. After ringing the halfway point bell, you want to head upwards and you will see a hidden pipe. Just underneath it are invisible blocks. You want to reveal them to reach the pipe. Now use the fire flower to blast the blocks on the pipe and go up to a new area. Head to the right and you will find the secret door. The best thing is once you complete this secret level, it gives you a shortcut to the last one, which is pretty handy. Video game presentation. This game looks absolutely stunning with chunky graphics more akin to Mario World, with Nintendo really pushing the 8-bit animation and style of Mario and his enemies. The backgrounds are much clearer and fit the aesthetics of each zone really well, with the space zone really making you feel like you're there in outer space with dark and twinkling stars, darkness and planets in the background, and things slowed down considerably. The tree zone looks and plays absolutely fantastic, as you have a mix of wide open areas where Mario can move freely and speed through some sections, whilst one level places him inside the tree itself, which noticeably slows the game's pace. I do feel that these were key to the success of this game, as every level has been constructed to give you differing variants which force the player to adapt to the challenges presented by having Mario speed up or slow down, as not every level can be sped through consistently due to enemy placement or hazards in the way. I loved how different each zone felt, with all the levels kind of not feeling the same and giving you some differences in how you complete them. I also felt that the developers didn't just phone it in and give you just Goombas and Koopa Troopers. There's lots of different and original baddies here, and some of them even put up a fight by firing projectiles or producing spikes through their skin rapidly, which can easily catch the player off guard, forcing them to change their strategy and try and adapt to what is happening around them. I thought the addition of the map screen was a nice nod to previous Mario titles, and it looked absolutely amazing, with our hero being able to start off on whichever zone he liked, meaning that the tougher zones could be taken care of first or tackled later. So everything is visually appealing and looks like a Mario game. I do however feel that this has come at a price. Don't get me wrong, everything looks absolutely stunning, but I think that this has hampered how Mario actually plays. He controls fine, but I have noticed after repeated plays that the actual character sprite doesn't move as fast as in other games, and whilst this by no means makes the game unplayable, I do think that a game this good with so many enemies and things happening unfortunately comes at a price. Also, I know it's probably a small gripe, but I do have a little issue with Mario's jump. Again, he jumps high, but to me it's not as high as in other 8-bit Mario titles and can also feel a little slower at the same time. Part of the problem is that in past Mario games his jump always felt quicker, and you kind of got used to that. When jumping with Mario here, it's just not as quick, and again I put that down to the fact that sacrifices must be made to make everything look so good. Sometimes I would try and jump, but because of the slightly diminished jump speed, which means when making multiple leaps across huge gaps you have to take extra care, because you may not have the momentum you think you have, and this can lead to a cheap death at times. But then you have to factor in the Game Boy screen itself and how much you can throw at it at a time due to the limited viewing frame. So I do understand it's not easy making a game like this looking impressive without cutbacks. I also do think that the game should have had a couple more zones. Mario Land 2 feels very short and can be beaten incredibly easily. I was able to power through all the zones with pretty much no problems, and although there are some secret levels, I just felt that Nintendo should have added in a few more, or at the very least up the number of levels on some of the zones. Space Zone was one I felt that was over before it really begun. Imagine my surprise at how awesome this zone was after playing the 2 levels. I was really getting into it and I just wanted a couple more. How about a level in an alien spaceship, or even on a different planet just across from the moon? That would have been awesome. And it's not like it couldn't have been done. I'm sure even with the Game Boy's limitations they could have easily put in something. I mean, look at games like Kirby's Dream Land 2 on the Game Boy, tons of levels and secrets, and Nintendo could have really pushed to do just a little bit more. I did really applaud the changes that Nintendo made with the coins. Again, rather than collect 100 and gain an extra life, Mario can collect up to 999 and go to a bonus cave which is located on the world map. Here we can choose to gamble it all for a succession of extra lives or get sweet nothing. It really made me smile even when I lost, and it was a nice addition. I also love the way that Nintendo just consistently rewarded the player with 1-ups, not just in the stages, but also in bonus rooms at the end of levels. It's so easy to amass a ton of lives here, and I never once saw the game over screen. Also, if you are busy, Mario Land 2 does have battery backup save feature, which records your current progress so you can play it as much or as little as you need. Finally, Nintendo have added an easy mode in, which you can access from the files at the start of the game. Just push select on a new game and easy mode is turned on. I think this was put in for younger players to help them get used to the game, which is a really good idea. I'll be honest, I've never ever used it, but imagine that the player gets less enemies to tackle and probably a much easier experience. Super Mario Land 2 is a hugely enjoyable original Game Boy adventure that belongs in the classic platform and must-plays category. There's plenty here for Mario fans to enjoy, featuring all the things that make a Mario game: power-ups, coins, and of course some interesting new levels and gimmicks. The introduction of new villain Wario was a stroke of genius, and the fact that soon after Wario was having as much success as Mario in his own games goes to show you that Nintendo didn't just phone it in when it came to Game Boy, and Wario has gone on from strength to strength. I will say that Mario Land 2 is not very long. It can be beaten very rapidly, and once you have beaten the game there's nothing new to see or do, and so the experience feels very cool and memorable, but it's an experience you will want to return to again and again, even though it is a little short. Because honestly, this is a pretty damn good platform game, with lots of humorous touches and imagination thrown in. The game at times does feel extremely slow, with everything happening all at once, and again sometimes there is a little bit of slowdown. Also, I know I hate to bring this up again, but controlling Mario sometimes feels like he's trying to run through Marmite at times. But again, it's only a small gripe for a game that is this good and still worth playing after so many years. I mean, if you want a game that does something a little different with Mario, then this is the title for you. It easily surpasses Mario Land and is probably not as challenging, but it's perfect for kids and adults alike. With that, I give Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins, a block-busting 4.4 out of 5. It's a short experience, but one that is so sweet that you'll want to return to again and again.
Okay, so there we are guys, Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins from Nintendo Game Boy. I sincerely hope you enjoyed my retro review. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out my Retro Play channel on my videos, and please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe to support the channel. Keep checking back for new retro content, and please don't forget to give me some feedback as well. And I'll see you next time for another retrospective review. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.